This idea that the U.S. willing to do under the Biden administration whatever they can, it looks like, to get back into a 3-year deal with the Iranians on their nuclear program.
We believe that if there is an Iran nuclear deal that meets the standards the president has set to verifiably block the pathway of Iran to get to a nuclear weapon and put this program back in the box after President Trump let it out of the box when he left the deal back in 2018, we will do that deal because we believe it is in the American national security interest.
Jake Sullivan is lying to the American people. The Iran nuclear program was never in a box.
Right.
2 pages of bullet points, don't put it in a box. They didn't even sign those bullet points. They got pallets of cash, billions of U.S. dollars. They didn't stop their terrorism around the world.
Here's the weak position in which the Biden administration finds themselves. President Biden really, really, really wants this deal, and the Ayatollah really, really, really knows that he does.
Israelis don't like it. The Gulf state partners of Israel do not like it, which includes predominantly Muslim countries. When Antony Blinken went to the conference this past week, he got an earful from our allies in the region saying this is a bad deal.
This deal, as we said,
ridiculous.
7 years ago, green-lighted an Iran nuclear program that the world was not condemning, but actually supporting. And we now know that with 3 years left, all that we will be left with is a nuclear arms race in one of the most turbulent regions of the world, the Middle East.
This is what we know so far about it. Russia wants an exemption from sanctions on any trade they do with Iran. That's part of what's being negotiated in Vienna. They want to take the Revolutionary Guard Corps off the terrorist list. This organization has the blood of thousands of people, including American soldiers, on their hands. They want all sanctions against Iran lifted, and they still want all Iranian military bases in the New Deal exempt from all inspections. And what we know now is we think they're at 60% level of enriching uranium. Probably they're higher than that. The original deal limited Iran to 3.76% enrichment uranium. They're at 60 now. 90% is weapons grade.
Dan Shapiro, who was a special government employee, he was on the team for 7 months. He was Obama's ambassador to Israel. He was on the Iran nuclear team trying to get the deal done. He left.
This is going to be a disaster. He's abandoning ship. I don't care what he says. You don't leave right before a historic agreement if you think the historic agreement is going to be good.
In his tweet, he said, I still support it today as I embrace a great new opportunity. He's talking about the Iran nuclear deal. If and when there is a deal, which remains uncertain, I'll have more to say then.
What does Dan Shapiro do when he leaves? He immediately announces that he's going to be working on the Abraham Accords, which is a signal that he is going to do everything he can to be pro-Israel, while this deal that he's been working on, this group of people within the Biden administration, is cutting a deal that's going to be anti-Israel, anti-American, and very pro-Iranian regime.
Here you've got the Israel whisperers, as Dan Shapiro was called, getting ready to leave, or in the process, I guess, has left. And at the same time, like you said, the deal's about to be structured, but the deal is also being negotiated with the Russians' active engagement. And I, for the life of me, cannot figure out what the administration is possibly thinking here.
It's probably one of the reasons that Dan Shapiro is jumping ship. Again, we have to be clear. He says that there's no policy disagreement, but that's the old Washington line. And what I find really interesting is that the entire JCPOA 2, whatever this negotiation is, everyone is classifying this as the Americans were weak. It gives the Iranians, the Iranian regime, a whole bunch more.
Here we have a country that is raining terror on their neighbor, Ukraine.
Right.
They are committing war crimes. I mean, terrorism writ large in Ukraine. We're taking this terrorist state to be our lead negotiator with the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism itself. It absolutely defies logic.
And yet you got Jake Sullivan saying, well, if the deal's the right deal, we'll get back into it. These are the same guys that got into the first bad deal. There's only 3 years left of this deal. 3 years left, and Iran's got a nuclear program.